Welcome to this month's City Managers Forum. I'm Sereniah Breland. Please join me as we discover Guthrie together.
Here's what's coming up this month, the month of July. We have our farmers market that's started every Saturday from 8 o'clock until noon. It's on First Street in between Harrison and Oklahoma Avenue. July is one of our hottest months, so I'd recommend checking out the Liberty Lake. We've got great swimming, boating, fishing, just about anything you're interested in doing, and the scenery's beautiful as well. If you're into adventure, the Highland Park trails are also a great way to get some exercise, and you can also go at night too. It is lit at night. Come downtown, do a little shopping, eat at some of our great restaurants, check out some of our museums, and I know a lot of local people probably haven't even been in the downtown area. You'd be surprised what we've got downtown now. So come explore and discover everything we've got in Guthrie.
Out and About with Cody Mosley, sponsored by
Energy Forces Conference Center, located at 115 North 2nd Street in historic downtown Guthrie, is a great place to hold meetings or training courses. Being an authorized FedEx ship center, it's also a convenient place to send out business or personal packages.
If you're not earning what you're worth, our fear-free prospecting and self-promotion assessments and workshop may be the answer to breaking through your financial ceilings.
We help professionals and businesses build successful and quality sales teams.
Energy Force is a business consulting and human resources outsourcing firm.
We focus on the areas of your business that help you maintain compliance and foster growth.
With our experience in HR, we can help you recruit and retain quality team members.
Hi, and welcome to this month's edition of Out and About. I'm Cody Mosley, the City of Guthrie's Director of Economic Development and Marketing. I'm excited to tell you about our new Guthrie Business Spotlight that we have coming up. We're rolling it out here soon, so keep an eye out for that on the City of Guthrie's website, Facebook, Twitter, and also on GTV20, as well as the City of Guthrie's YouTube channel. We're still ramping up for Mumford & Sons Gentlemen of the Road Festival. We're excited to be working with JAM. The City of Guthrie and the Chamber are working hard to make sure that this event can go as flawlessly as possible. I certainly want to welcome Hancock Creative Shop, located at 116 South 2nd, to the Guthrie community. Go by and see them and take a look at all that they have to offer. And check out next month's edition of Out and About. I'm Cody Mosley. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to Chalk Talk. I'm Dr. Mike Simpson, Superintendent of Guthrie Public Schools, and as you can tell by my casual attire, it's summertime. Schools are out, and some parents are happy, some parents are disappointed that their children are now more at home, but one of those parents that I've got with me today is Zach Robbins. Zach, welcome to Chalk Talk.
Thank you.
And what we're going to talk about today a little bit, we've had this long-range planning committee. And we've kind of been doing some stuff, but no one really knows what all we've been doing. And you're on that committee. You're a parent of a Guthrie student, and you're actually an alum of Guthrie Public Schools.
Yes.
And so tell a little bit about yourself, and then talk a little bit about what have we been doing.
Okay. Like Dr. Simpson said, I'm Zach Robbins, and I graduated from Guthrie High School in 1990, and. Yeah, it's been a while. It's getting close to 25 years, so it's kind of shocking and a little bit frightening, but life goes on. But I am associate pastor out of Bible Baptist Church. We moved here in 1983. This is our 30th year there, and so I started Guthrie schools in the 6th grade. Like yourself. Before that, I was a product of Stillwater Elementary, and then moved here and have just really fallen in love with the community. I mean, just part of who we are. And so when I got the call today from you for placement on the Long Range Planning Committee, I was really excited. And so so as far as what we've been doing is, we met the first night, and you kind of gave us kind of a rundown, kind of an overview. Some of the members may not have been as versed in where the schools are and those things, but having had children come through here and been here, we were a few of us were pretty familiar with those. So we kind of did a rundown and looked and just kind of got a summary of all the things that encompasses Guthrie Public Schools. A lot of information. It's almost like drinking from a fire hydrant that night. There was a lot of stuff to take in. And so then after we did that, then we began to go through just the ins and outs of all the schools. I believe the first night we started there at Cotterell. Okay. And it's the night you guys had to pick me up from Kentucky Fried Chicken in the school bus. But we went out in school buses so that we could actually, so it's different than driving there in a $40,000 SUV and getting to a school. But the way we did it so that it would be authentic, we rode the school bus. That's right. And I got picked up at the street corner. And we began to go through and really look and see, checking on the conditions, speaking and getting to talk to and ask questions to each of the site's principals, to really find out their pulse of it, to find out what's really good, what's really difficult, the problems. And so we did that, and then we got the opportunity to go to Enid and Kingfisher and look over and see some different types of construction, see some restoration like at Enid High School, and then some new buildings like Garfield Elementary there in Enid, and then I believe that was the middle school we went to in Kingfisher.
So you've been to all of our sites. You've looked at, I wouldn't say every inch of what Guthrie Public Schools has to offer, but you've looked at a lot of what we have to offer, both classroom space and space that supports our students in the sense of the bus barn and the administration building and all that stuff. What surprised you most that you've seen on your tours?
What surprised me most is, honestly, and a lot of times it's easy to go negative. But what surprised me the most is the ability that our maintenance staff has been able to do. It's been, when you have as many buildings, when you have as much responsibility as they have had, to kind of keep them running, so to speak, sure. Because there are significant problems, there are significant deficiencies, but yet they have worked through those to keep them where they are. Now, hopefully that's what we will be able to do in the future is, maybe so they don't have to work so hard.
They found a way to make it work.
They found a way to make it work.
But it's not working as well as maybe it could be?
Right. When you can only do so much. There's only so many patches, there's only so many fixes you can make. It's just like you can take a car and you can keep it running, but then eventually there's just nothing left. All you have is fixes.
Well, you said you went to Kingfisher and Enid. What was the difference in the schools you saw there and what we have?
Well, first of all, they were, the most obvious thing, they had money put into them. Mm-hmm. They were investments. It's the difference between, some rundown places that that we have, and then just the difference of investments, I should say. Is two of the schools we went to were fairly new. That the communities had invested and built, and that's what they had decided to do, and so there's other than being four walls and classrooms, there's not a lot of similarities between them.
And I guess the thing that struck me with those buildings compared to ours, and I don't know if you felt this way, but the environment, when you walk in, you just felt better.
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's something that when you have something, it doesn't have to be new, but it has to be it has to have a new feel about it. I mean, because even in high school, it's about the same age as our junior high. You walk into that building and it looks elegantly old.
Right.
And I think that was the striking difference between that and what we have in Guthrie. So, you know, you touched a little bit on this, and we're kind of going in that direction, but tell me, why is this important to you as a parent?
Well, it's important to me as a parent, you know, for the obvious reasons. The obvious reasons is that no parent wants to, I mean, why do we go look at daycares? Why do we choose those? You know, we all want the very best for our children. And so as a parent, you know, having gone through there, having been in the classrooms, having, you know, children who have gone through, you know, every elementary school that Guthrie Public Schools has to offer, you know, you just, you know, I mean, you just rather have, you know, it's kind of that obvious thing. I mean, newer, better maintained, you know, not better maintained, but better equipped to begin with. It is just really important, and it, you know, it's a sense of pride, and I know that sometimes even, you know, that there can begin to become times when we, you know, when even the children look negatively at their school, and it's kind of an esteem issue, and I just, you know, just like any parent, we want what's very, you know, we want the very best that we can provide for our kids, and I just, I think that's, you know, really, really important. You know, I mean.
Well, and the thing that I look at, you know, you and I are both property owners in this district. If we, and we've kind of talked about financing, how do we make this happen? And you know, there's no realistic way. Our needs are so great. There's no realistic way to do this without some bond issues, which is going to raise your property tax and mine both.
Right.
As a property owner, how do you feel about that if you can take yourself away from being the parent?
Right.
You know, and the way I look at that, and I don't know if you share this, but I think the schools have a huge impact on our property values. I think you can look at growing communities, and you'll find that people believe their schools are good. Whether they are or not,
Right.
That's a perception. And most of the time that perception is based on how the school looks, not really what's going on in the classroom. So how do you feel as a property owner about that? And let's just assume for a minute you're not a parent,
Right.
but just a property owner in Guthrie.
Okay, well, I think that one of the biggest striking things that we did that very first night going through, and I'm kind of kind of go back in order to go forward here. You know, we looked at communities around us and what they were doing and their investment level, and then we came to Guthrie, and there was a big zero there, yeah. And nobody wants to pay more. Nobody wants to dig deeper into their pockets. But the truth is that the public schools in a community are an integral part of that community. And at some point in time, in order to make our community work correctly, I believe in order to go through and continue in the growth that people want. Because the bottom line is, what pushes property values more than anything? The need or desire for said property. And if you look at and if you see that maybe one of the most, you know, who knows, people's lives change and people may think that they're going to be in Guthrie forever. But people change. Yeah. Things happen.
Life happens, doesn't it?
Life happens. And the last thing you want is to look and say, the biggest negative towards my property value is that everybody comes in and says, yeah, but those schools. Mm-hmm. And you know, the last thing you want is the investment, the largest investment that you make in for the normal person is their home.
Great point.
And the last thing that you want to say is that for just a few investment dollars each month, because I save that, now I'm getting hammered, and I've got to go out here and I've got to either put more money into my home, because I've got to make my home attractive, because all of a sudden there's this huge negative.
Yeah.
And that negative is, you know what, we love the house, we love the location, we love everything about it, but have you seen those schools?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is the reality.
And the thing that I've noticed is we have such a mobile society now and getting used to the fact that the majority of our parents in Guthrie don't necessarily work in Guthrie. So they could live, if they relocate, they could live wherever they want to. And if they have kids in school, they can make it a point to choose where they feel like the best schools are. And we want that to be Guthrie. We want to be the best. That's what we strive for in everything that we do. And this long-range facility planning committee is a big part of that, because we want to develop a 10-year plan. That didn't happen just with one little 15-minute meeting about what everybody wants, did it?
No, it didn't.
And so the next parts to this are developing a plan that we can look at for the next 10 years, and not just what we need, which is kind of what is on the priorities, but also how we would pay for it.
Right.
And we want to find an area where our property owners can support that, right, and also an area of taxation where we can know that we are prepared for the future. Right. The example I give a lot is that your kids, my kids, the jobs that the careers they're going to have not been invented yet. And preparing them for that is a daunting task that 50, 60 years ago we weren't faced with in education. And that's 50, 60, 70 years ago when our facilities were built. Quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you're a part of this, and I really appreciate you talking with. I appreciate your involvement as a parent too. One of the things that I wanted to do when we established this committee is to make it representative of the community, right, and a cross section, not just of parents, but also we have some folks on there that don't have kids in school. We have some folks on there that are retired. I wanted that to be a cross-section of this community that represents this entire community as we go forward, so that when we do come to a bond election, that we have looked at all the options and we have explored everything that we can do, and we are comfortable with what our recommendation is. And I really appreciate what you've done to help us.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being a part of the show today.
Thank
you. We've got work ahead of us.
Absolutely.
But I'm looking forward to it. And Zach, thanks for being on the show. And this is Dr. Mike Simpson. I'll be with you next time on Chalk Talk.
And welcome back. Today we've got our very own CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Mary Coffin, to talk about the second annual Capital Triathlon. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Serena.
I was not here last year, so I am not fully aware about this triathlon that everybody speaks about and how great of a turnout you had. Tell me a little bit about last year and maybe what we can expect for this year's triathlon.
Well, last year was my first triathlon as well. Now, Matt started the triathlon, and he sent Lucy and I to several before we actually did ours. So we were actually strippers at the El Reno triathlon, which we don't have strippers in the Guthrie triathlon, because what we did was when the runners come out from the water and they have their wetsuits on, we stripped them off of them. There's two of us, one on each side. They lay down on the carpet and we ripped their
I love it. That's great.
wetsuits off of them. And so it was fun. We had a great time doing that. So we figured this is going to be pretty interesting at our triathlon. So it starts early in the morning. We get up about 5 o'clock and start cooking, start preparing. And 7 o'clock, there's a lot of busyness going on down at the lake. There's people coming in. You're seeing all sorts of athletes all over the place. They've got bikes and they've got all sorts of stuff going on. It was very high energy, very exciting. The interaction that we had with the people who came and all the participants, it was great.
Heard they
We'd
loved
stop
it.
and talk to
Yeah.
them. They'd stop and, oh, this is great. This is, yeah. And you know, you'd meet a few people who it was their first triathlon, and then you'd meet people who have done many, many triathlons. And so it was really interesting because I thought, oh, we'll probably have an easy course. Well, we had a really challenging course for the triathletes who had been who had done multiple ones. So, you know, that's a good thing, and they're all going to come back. I'm sure. We had 198 participate last year. I would hope that we're going to have hopefully 300-400 this year.
Fantastic. And it's held at Guthrie Lake.
At the lake, yes.
Okay, I was there this last weekend, and I'll tell you there were plenty of people swimming and fishing, and the lake level is up right now. So, and tell me again on the date for the triathlon.
Okay, it's July 20th.
July 20th
It's
on a Saturday.
7 o'clock in the morning. But we'll have we'll have signs out on some of the roads, letting people know that there'll be some traffic. We're going to have a few of the roads closed just because of what's going on. Now the bike course, it's not closed, but we'll have people at the different entrances. The Logan County Sheriff's Department's going to help us through some of those. They were really great last year in helping us with getting the bikers through. And then we do have a few barricades on the run course, but just only a couple. And that's going to go out through the neighborhood where the former mayor used to live, and it's out by Kenneth Mitchell's house, going out that way.
Wonderful. If someone wanted to help, I know this takes a great deal of manpower, and it's quite challenging to put it all together. If someone wanted to help, could they contact you and maybe help with putting packets together?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, Ryan Epley with the Y, he helped us all year last year. In fact, we kind of do it together in conjunction with the Y. And he had over 100 volunteers help us last year, and we needed everybody. Everybody had a specific job to do. So whether it's beforehand, working on packets, passing out packets, really we need most of our help the day of the triathlon, that morning, and actually the day before we're going to have a lot of setup to do as well. So plenty of different things to do.
Wonderful. So we anticipate hopefully over 200 people in this year's event. I hope that it's successful and that y'all keep doing it. I know that this was an initiative with Get Fit Guthrie happening within our community, and it's very exciting to see people out in the summer and all times riding bikes, running, playing in the lake. We love it.
You know, even people on the course, it should be on it is on our webpage, firstcapitaltry.com, that we have our own website. And so the people and the residents can actually come out of their houses and they can cheer them on. And we had some of that going on last year too, which is really exciting for the people who participate.
It's great. What a great event. Well, we'll leave you in closing with the video from last year's First Capital Triathlon. And thanks for joining us as always. You're always welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Chamber does some great events, and we look forward to this one. Thank you.
The triathlon. Some do it to battle the anxiety and nervousness. Others do it to challenge themselves beyond expectation and measure. Some do it in honor of those who can't do it themselves to provide hope and inspiration. No matter the what, no matter the why, for all a chance to see what they're made of on this day.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm the vice mayor here in Guthrie, and this is an exciting time for the city. We're having our first Capital Triathlon here, and then on top of that, that's my first triathlon. So, I was just excited to try to do it. It's kind of a personal endurance thing for me.
It's the race itself what motivates me, just trying to get across that line first, get better every time.
She's lost over 10% of her body weight. She has been really on target, and she's set a goal, and now she is doing her first triathlon, and she is going to do it today.
Limits will be reached, barriers will be broken, the stage is set, and the 500-meter swim is where it all begins. school of contenders stroke towards land. The pros come up for air to be the first in line and ascend to the second event of the triathlon, the bike ride. Bike trail is a grueling 12.5 miles along the Guthrie Lakeside. The last ultimate test, the third phase of the triathlon, is the 5-mile run along the Logan County countryside.
Great race. Oh, it's a fantastic race. The support out here was fantastic. The course was challenging.
Organizers did a great job. Oh my goodness, we'll definitely come back next year. It's a hot day, rough day, but that has nothing to do with the organization. It was a great race, great race. Great job to the city of Guthrie and the race directors.
The triathlon has just opened up a new world to me because, you know, I was hard on myself at the beginning. Didn't like the way I looked, and now, shoot, I love it, and I get a good response, and I eat it up. So you can't beat this sport.
I've been doing this for 28 seasons, 28 years. So I've probably raced 300. Done all distances from the sprint to doing the Hawaii Ironman Championships back in 07. You know, Ironman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've raced in a lot of states, you know, all around. But I can tell you for sure on this race here is it's one of those 5-star races for a first-year event. It was put on like it was a well-seasoned event. Everything was real good. You know, plenty of volunteers. Just a great venue out here. Just a great venue.
How was the event? It's your first triathlon. Vice Mayor of Guthrie, first triathlon in your town. What do you think?
It was exciting. It was an amazing turnout today. You know, this being my first time, I didn't know what to expect, but the volunteers were incredible today. My hat's off to everybody in town who helped out. Matt, you put on a great event with the Y and the chamber, and it's exciting. It was grueling, but nonetheless exciting, and man, I just had a ball.
Oh, good.
Absolutely had a ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great to bring people to town, and it's great to show off Guthrie, and you know, I've heard from several of the athletes around, so this is an awesome race, not only for a first-year race, but for a race in general, and you know, I think that we have a chance to see this double next year because I think people are pretty pumped.
Yeah, everybody was excited. Everybody was excited until I hit the bike and hit the hills. But after But the I mean, just the fanfare of the event and the gift bags,
Yeah.
and all the things that go along with it.
Well, see, that was the trick, though, is that, you know, you torture them on the way out, you know, because you're climbing on the way out and on the way out on the run. But then you're coasting in and you're feeling good, so they forget about how much they hate you when they're going downhill.
Yeah, exactly. No, like I said, I had a great time. I finished, so I'm officially a triathlete.
You are a triathlete.
So I'm excited. I can't wait till next year.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
I think it's really interesting that we had a lot of local participation, a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have done a triathlon unless it was in their backyard. So that's really inspiring. I know we had, probably 10 to 20 Guthrie people do the triathlon that maybe have never done one before, so that's pretty cool.
I'm Mary Coffin. I'm with the Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Chandler Norton, and I just live in Guthrie. I'm Lucy Swanson with the Chamber of Commerce. And we'll see you next year at the first Capital Triathlon. We're good.